Africa's power shift from dependency to destiny. As Africa Energy Week wraps up in Cape Town, a question reverberates across boardrooms and building sites alike. Can Africa truly end energy poverty by 2030 and power its own future? The answer may not lie in foreign aid or global promises, but in a powerful combination of African accountability and strategic reinvention. Because while Africa faces a pressing need to electrify its homes and industries, it is also witnessing a quiet transformation not only from within, but also in how global partners like China are beginning to operate on the continent. This is the story of how Africa's leadership and China's evolving business model are converging to shape the next chapter of development. Africa's Power Promise. Shout out to our dear subscribers. To our non-subscribing friends, your support is just as valuable. If you can take 1 second to hit the subscribe button, that will be fantastic. Across Africa today, more than 600 million people live without access to electricity. In Nigeria, some 85 million citizens remain in darkness even as the country holds enough natural gas to light up the entire region. It's a stark paradox, a continent rich in resources, yet struggling to turn that wealth into power. For decades, Africa's energy agenda has been written from afar by consultants, donors, and financiers who often set the pace and priorities. When goals fell short, the blame turned outward: sanctions, oil price shocks, investor hesitation. But as Osa Egihan, CEO of Heirs Energies, argues, no one understands Africa's challenges or cares more about its progress than Africans themselves. The turning point, he says, begins with ownership, the willingness to take charge of our own resources, infrastructure, and future. From aid to agency, a changing landscape. Africa is not alone in this transformation. Over the last 2 decades, China has been one of the continent's biggest builders, funding highways, ports, and railways worth billions. Between 2000 and 2019, Chinese banks poured nearly $50 billion into African transport projects. But since 2019, that number has fallen sharply to just $6 billion. Yet, Chinese companies haven't disappeared. They've adapted. Across Kenya, Ghana, and Ethiopia, Chinese firms remain market leaders not because of loans, but because of flexibility, relationships, and local engagement. Researchers from the University of Manchester and Leiden University found that these firms are no longer just executing Beijing's foreign policy. They're learning to operate like global players, competing, partnering, and responding to African realities. It's a transformation that mirrors Africa's own shift from dependency to self-determination. African accountability, proof on the ground. In Nigeria's Om-17 oil field, once known for losses and mismanagement, an African-led turnaround tells a different story. Under new leadership, production doubled in just 100 days, with 99.8% of output fully accounted for. Every drop of oil, every molecule of gas tracked, sold, and used to power Nigerian homes and industries. The success of Om-17 offers a model not only for energy reform, but for governance rooted in accountability. It's proof that when Africans lead with transparency, skill, and purpose, performance follows. The same principle applies to partnerships. Foreign capital can help, but real transformation comes when Africans define their own terms. China's new playbook, partnership over patronage. This new reality is reshaping how Chinese companies work across Africa. In the past, state-backed loans secured projects and opened doors. Now, firms must rely on their networks, partnerships, and adaptability to survive. In Kenya, the China Road and Bridge Corporation (CRBC) first arrived in 1984, quietly subcontracting to gain experience. Decades later, it built the iconic Nairobi-Mombasa standard gauge railway, financed by Chinese loans. But as Beijing's funding slowed, CRBC evolved. It began bidding for international tenders, winning contracts financed by Kenya's own treasury and global institutions. By redeploying equipment and labor from nearby projects, the company cut costs and boosted competitiveness, even helping build Lamu Port using the same resources that built the railway. In Ghana, the China Harbor Engineering Company (CHEC) followed a similar path. It entered through a Chinese loan deal, then diversified by partnering with Western firms and regional financiers when funding paused. The company hired local intermediaries and young professionals who bridged cultural gaps, earning trust with Ghanaian officials and communities. This evolution shows a profound shift. Chinese companies are no longer just extensions of Beijing, they are becoming adaptive global actors, deeply embedded in local realities. Shared responsibility, African choices matter. Both stories, Africa's drive to end energy poverty and China's transformation from lender to partner, point to a single truth: agency matters. Africa's development is no longer about waiting for aid or directives from abroad. It's about negotiating better deals, setting higher standards, and ensuring every project, whether African-led or foreign-funded, serves the continent's long-term vision. To power every home by 2030, Africa an estimated $2 trillion in infrastructure investment. That goal is ambitious, perhaps even daunting. But ambition without accountability will not be enough. Governments must foster policies that reward transparency, encourage innovation, and demand that every investor, local or foreign, aligns with Africa's broader development goals. The next chapter of Africa-China engagement won't be defined by massive loan packages, but by collaboration, competition, and co-creation. It's a space where African choices will shape outcomes as much as Chinese strategies. Across the continent, a quiet revolution is unfolding. From oil fields in Nigeria to ports in Ghana and railways in Kenya, a new development model is taking shape, one built not on dependency, but on partnership, performance, and purpose. Ending energy poverty by May 2030 be a challenge, but it's not impossible. The resources are here. The talent is ready. The world is watching. Africa's light, both literal and symbolic, will not come from outside. It will rise from within, fueled by accountability at home and respect abroad. Because the day Africa takes full ownership of its energy future is the day the lights finally stay on. For VlogND, I'm Sal Pier. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories about Africa's development and more. Like and share our videos. We appreciate your support.